Who are these
No.
people who dare go to the theater and mess with Patti LuPone? Actually have a lot of news today, starting
Oh,
with some news that kind of rocked our world here in film Twitter, and specifically in the Los Angeles edition of film Twitter, which is that the Landmark Theater is closing.
yeah.
And this is awful for us in a multitude of ways because we already lost the arc light. Both were very similar in terms of being like a luxurious experience in terms
Yes.
of the seating and the sound and the quality of the whole technical experience, but also like
The
there's a
bar for
the,
those who needed that as well.
yeah, like there was a really cool little lobby bar. You could go and have a drink and talk about what you had just seen. They had really good snacks, and they would show an interesting array of art house stuff. And then we've
Yep.
gone to a million screenings there. I
Yep.
moderated a million Q&As there. I
Yeah.
interviewed like Lulu Wong, Jimmy Chin,
Yeah.
the Honeyland
Rodrigo
people.
Santoro. Yeah. Like a lot of award season stuff would happen there as well. And the thing is, like, that was Landmark's like flagship.
Yeah,
They are a very, I mean, I think successful art house chain. They have quite a few
they do.
outposts in Los Angeles, but this was the Landmark. This was their kind of crown jewel. But unfortunately, they did not own the property.
Right. So the mall that the Landmark is in, West Side Pavilion, it has been known. It's where they shot
Yes.
the Tom Petty Free Fallen
Yes.
video.
And Clueless.
Oh, right. And so the whole thing is being turned into a giant Google complex, a literal Googleplex.
Wait, Google
And
or Amazon?
I think it's Google.
Oh, I thought I'd read Amazon, but I'm
Anyway,
not sure.
it's
One of
a big
those.
it's a big office space that, like, in a world where nobody goes to the office anymore, they are gutting this mall. And so part of that is like the theater was the last standing thing in that
Right.
building, and now it's gone. It's a bummer because there aren't a lot of places to see this kind of stuff, even in a city like LA, where we're a company town and there aren't
Yeah.
a lot of places to see that kind of thing. So this is why it's so much more important than ever to support your local art house theaters, indie theaters. It's a crusade that we are passionate about here. And that this is your emergency movie house shout out.
Yeah.
They're closing at the end of the month though. Crypto is a thing that I don't understand, but I've had so many people explain crypto to me, and it's still like whoosh. Anyway,
Ditto.
but but one thing I do understand is Matt Damon shilling for crypto with those
Yes.
horrific fortune favors the brave ads that you see on TV, you see before you go to the movies. Anyway, crypto has crashed this past week, and people are blaming Matt Damon for it. Like, you shouldn't be taking your financial advice from Matt Damon.
Well, yeah, maybe you should have known that before. No, look, he is paid to endorse a product. So like if go talk to whoever's out there shilling reverse mortgages or whatever other stuff that's out to sort of
Mhm.
fleece people. I mean, I bet you that Matt Damon got paid in actual currency for
Right?
these ads, right?
Gold
But
bars.
exactly, but not his fault.
No. So the whole Oscar fan favorite and Oscar cheer moment thing, which they had people vote for, quote
Hmm.
unquote, you will be shocked to learn they were rigged. It was a rigged
No,
election. There were
no.
bots, Zack Snyder friendly online bots were like stuff in the ballot box. And that's why you have the Flash going into the, what was it?
Speed Force.
The speed realm, speed force,
The Speed
anyway,
Force.
whatever it was. And everyone's
Christy, it
like,
was like the
huh?
most memorable moment. How do you not know what it's called?
When I sat on my couch and I watched that moment, I remembered it for maybe a half an hour afterward. So you guys at the Wrap did, Woodward and Bernstein level investigative journalism about the
Yeah.
boss.
Look, and it's not like everybody on film Twitter didn't predict this exact
Right.
thing as soon as the Academy was like, oh, we'll open up to people on the internet. It's like, nope, bad idea, bad idea. But they did it anyway. And again, it goes to show you how embarrassed they were by the time it finally happened, that it got shunted off into sort of like a commercial bumper and not like, a big
Da,
part
da, da,
of the show.
da.
Yeah.
There must also be like Johnny Depp friendly bots out there, because
Oh,
otherwise,
for sure.
how do you have Minamata, a movie that like literally nobody has seen?
Yeah, basically, it had the tiniest of releases, and then no matter how great it is, yes, the number of tickets sold is not commensurate with the number of votes that it got.
Not at all. Anyway, shocking news here. You'll be thrilled to learn. I am thrilled to learn there's going to be a sequel to A Simple Favor.
Yes.
which is a movie I love. And I find myself referring to it all the time just because it's so dark and so snappy and so sexy. And the clothes are, of course, to die for. But also it besides how great Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively are with each other and how like lively the film is paced, it taps into this truth about like you make friends with moms that you wouldn't be friends with ordinarily, and you like find yourself day drinking with them. So I was like, she sees me. It's me. Anyway, so Paul Feig is back, Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively. It'll be a blast.
Yeah, I love that movie. I don't know how you make a sequel to it, but I don't care. Bring it. I'm all for it.
There's also going to be a sequel to Spinal Tap, which I'm a little ambivalent about.
If Rob Reiner had made a good movie in the last 30 years, I think I would be a little more excited about it. But as it is, it's kind of like, I mean, like if the cast wanted to get together and maybe, Christopher Guest wanted to direct it or some other comedy person, then I think it might be a little more. And what I don't know if this is true. Somebody on my Facebook said, well, they apparently have to do something with the characters every so often or they lose the copyright or whatever. I don't know if that's actually the case. I do know that Reiner is trying to get his Castle Rock shingle sort of like revived these days. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, he had this amazing run early in his career where it was like, bam, 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 the Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, all these amazing movies, but it's been a while.
Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer are all back. Rob Reiner is back directing and playing the Marty DiBergi.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I love Spinal Tap. It's of course a movie that is infinitely quotable and the songs are all hilarious, but I don't know that I need to revisit Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I don't either. Although I bet you they've already got like Billy Crystal and Fran Drescher and all these, Ed Begley Jr. on speed dial. So. Yeah,
we'll see. So if that comes out, if that does indeed happen, we will definitely review it here. Norm Macdonald shot a secret stand-up comedy special.
I read about that.
He knew he was really sick, and I guess he had a planned Netflix special in the works. So he just like shot himself doing like an hour of comedy, like single take, no breaks. It's just him doing comedy. It's going to be out on May 30th, I want to say.
Was there an audience? Do we know?
I don't think so.
When he shot it?
I think it's just like him at his house. It's kind of like Bo Burnham's Inside.
I was going to say, like, that'll be interesting to see if they release it that way, just because I think it's generally speaking, you hear people laugh during these things,
Right. But the thing with Norm Macdonald's comedy is that it's so like subdued and weird that maybe you don't need the energy of people to make it work because there's like a stillness to it anyway, like an absurdity to it anyway. Anyway,
we'll see how it goes.
So that's coming out. Patti LuPone. Not somebody I would ever want to mess with. Who are these people who dare go to the theater and mess with Patti LuPone?
It's not like you haven't been warned.
What are you thinking?
She has a history of this sort of thing, and bless her.
Right. So at this point, there was like a Q&A after a performance of Company.
Yeah.
And there were people in the audience who were not wearing their masks properly. And she called him out on it. And she notoriously calls out bad behavior among customers, which has been increasingly a thing that happens. Like there's no civility, right? People are texting and they're eating super loud and talking to each other super loud. And she'll call them out. She's been doing it for years. So she calls out these people and like they snapped back at her. And would she tell them to get the fuck out? Is that what she did?
I believe so, yes. I would like to take Ms. LuPone to the movies with me. I think that would be great.
Right. So I just think it's hilarious. James Cromwell super glued himself to the counter at Starbucks in New York City, one of the 1,000 Starbucks in New York City. This is part of a PETA protest against the fact that I guess their vegan milk prices are higher than normal dairy milk. Like if you go and get a latte and you want it with oat milk or soy milk. Yeah, like it costs more than normal milk. And I just don't know about super gluing your hands. Like of all the things you could do, and they streamed it live on Facebook. Like let's say you get your hands unglued. Like then you're going to hold a cup of coffee. Like that seems painful. Even with the little sleeve, I would think that would hurt a lot.
I don't think that's the sequence of events.
I mean, you're already there. You may as well get a latte, right?
Yeah, you get it iced,
That is true. That would be cooling and healing. Fred Ward died at
Yes.
79. A legendary, long-time career character actor with like a leading man presence about him.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like The Right Stuff and Tremors and, The Player, a film I love from the 80s that I hope the missingmovies.org people can release called Euphoria. Yeah, just that nails it. He was a character actor, but he was, absolutely a movie star, and just just one of those people that one of those names you see in the credits and you go, oh, okay, good. Well, then that'll be something to look forward to. So
Indeed.
Henry and June, one of my favorites.
Yes. Right. R.I.P. Fred Ward, 79.